Do you know that actually by default, this is the first time we've been able to sit down and not only do something for the podcast, but actually have a proper conversation in about 3 weeks as regards actually sitting down? Because when I went to London after your birthday, if you remember, I was going to work and I was going for a few days. You were then joining, but then you got COVID. So you couldn't come down for over another week. And then I went away on the retreat.
Yeah.
So what should have been a few days was actually 3 weeks. And it drives me mad because last year when we said we, not in a drippy way, but we don't like being apart for those stretches of time.
No, I know.
So really, we haven't. So I went down to London and then you couldn't come down because you weren't well. So I went off with all my pals to the Brighton gig of Matthew's. So I've talked about how I had all of the guest list stress and everything. But the reason, guys, is the reason that I did the Brighton 1975 gig is because the O2, which we then did go to, is absolutely chaos. And honestly, if I never went to the O2 again, it would be too soon. It's too big, it's too crowded, it's too stressful. And Brighton was actually the smallest venue that Matty's playing.
Yeah.
So it was a shame that you missed it because for those of you who don't know this show, it is a rock show, a sold out rock show, arena show, but the whole first half is like performance art. So it's more like theatre. So seeing it at Brighton was almost like sitting in the theatre.
Yeah.
And you could get every nuance of what was going on stage, whereas at the O2, I felt some of that was lost. It didn't detract from the 20,000 hysterical fans loving every minute of it. But seeing it in a more intimate place was fantastic.
Right.
So I took all my pals to Brighton, friends like Jane Moore, like Donna, like Julie Graham, like Kevin and Claire Kennedy, people whose kids were absolutely obsessed with the band, some of whom have known them for a long time. And my friend Caroline Hirons, who's the skincare expert. You haven't met Caroline yet. We've bonded over our ADHD thing as well. But anyway, her son, Dan, is the one who's got the tattoo of the 1975 on his arm. And he has said that he had some issues in his life and the 1975 saved him.
Mm-hmm.
And so I just by chance was sat next to Dan.
Yeah.
And he got through Matty's first song. And the second song, he just lost it. And he broke down. And it was really emotional seeing the band through Dan's eyes, you know,
Right.
and what it meant to him. Because I don't think I've ever been. I loved me Donny Osmonds and me David Cassidy's and, you know, things like Cat Stevens. But I was never obsessively connected to them lyrically.
Yeah.
Were you?
No.
With anybody?
No.
Who did you like when you were growing up? Obviously, you remember Lincoln's 15 years younger than me.
I didn't have any particular. I wasn't one of these sort of band fans, you know. I had loads of different. I like Pet Shop Boys. I liked Erasure. You know, I liked ELO, which is
your dad's favourite. Unlike one of your best mates, Phil, who was already seen Matty twice and would probably follow him around the country if he could give up his job.
You'd follow him around the world if you could. Yeah.
I know, it's just seeing thousands of people, because people always, don't they, like, they're looking at the band, but they're also looking at me. I mean, I had my Ava Peron reception at Brighton, which was hysterical and became a meme of me going, you know, don't cry for me, Brighton, because the fans spotted me and then went hysterical, and my friends thought it was great. If I had been at a Ed Sheeran gig or a Lewis Capaldi gig, I would have just been, oh, there's that woman off Loose Women. Do you know what I mean? That it would have been that much interest. But when I'm at Matty's gigs, it's like I've given birth to the Messiah, the reaction.
Yeah.
And, you know, you embrace it and it's sort of quite funny. But I look at all these thousands of people who hang on to the every word. Their lives are defined by how long they've been a fan of the band, and they know every lyric, and I know hardly any lyrics, and I'm just someone who tips up for the chorus. So anyway, so that was that was Brighton, and that was when you were poorly, which was a shame because it was such a great night. But then, of course, you came down and we went straight to the O2. And it was an incredible night. But it was a lot for me, wasn't it, with me guest list and everything again.
Yeah, I mean, the guest list thing is just really sort of beyond belief, really. I mean, but I don't know. It's one of those things where you always sort of prepare yourself for it, but there's a lot of demand on what people expect. For some reason, I think it's a weird thing that people seem to lose all coping mechanisms of finding out what they actually need to do. It's like they feel they're going to be like chauffeured to the seats. I don't know. It's weird. I can't work it out. Don't know why it happens, but it is like a guest list madness.
Yeah, but let me just say there wasn't any of that at Brighton with my Brighton pals, you know. And anyway, listen, it was all sorted, and so we some people were in the you know, fantastic seats. Louis wanted to be, he could have been wherever he wanted, but he wanted to be standing with his pals.
He always
wanted to be standing. And but we were in the box with some of our friends, and
the box was great though, because we could sit down.
Yes, the box was great, and we were with Frankie Bridge and my friend Lee, Piet, and your friends Phil, and also it was lovely to see Hans' mum and dad, Sue and Brian, because you know this band's been going since they were 13 years old, and so Sue and Brian and me have been from going to every single grotty place in the Northern Quarter in Manchester through to the university gigs. You know, we've seen it all. So to suddenly be together watching 20,000 people watching our kids, you know, Han is now giving them a grandchild now. I mean, it's just unbelievable. So that was lovely. But then in front of me was this person who I thought, well, I don't know who that is. She was like a bonkers fan, and I thought, well, maybe she's won a competition to be here or something, because she was screaming and jumping around. It was only Florence Welch from Florence and the Machine. Do you remember when I was going? And
yeah, she was really shy.
Oh my God, she was so lovely with her lovely sister Grace, but she was so shy, but she wanted to go down in the mosh pit. And I knew I had to stop her because I was keeping a secret from everybody. Well, not from you, I told you, but we were keeping a secret as to what was going to happen.
Yeah.
So I'm saying to Florence, oh, Florence, I don't know whether it's a good idea for you to go in the mosh pit because you're kind of Florence Welch or Florence and the Machine. But just don't go yet, because, of course, as we knew, suddenly there's a point in the show where, because the house is all a set reminiscent of where the kids grew up, actually. And then there's this sort of weird bit happens, which would sort of be the intermission. And then there's a knock on the door. And George, who's the drummer, and who is also Matthew's best friend and co-writer, goes to the door, opens the door, and suddenly on the big screen flashes up, guest starring Taylor Swift. And Taylor Swift walks on the stage, and people lost their shit, didn't they?
Yeah.
I mean, people were like
incredible.
passing out and fainting almost. And, you know, it was the reaction, because I knew it was coming. I didn't tell Frankie or anything. They could not believe what was happening. And it was so amazing to be part of that surprise. And it was unbelievable. And Charlie XCX was there as well. She's the most lovely person who's now with George. So it was all very, very lovely. And then afterwards, I got to meet Taylor and had a photo. And of course, it just so happened that Florence was in the back of the shot. So that's become a global meme, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Of me. My favourite one was Florence Welch waiting patiently in the wings at the Denise Welch meet and greet at the O2. There was some crackers. People are very funny.
Yeah.
So that was quite something. And the question people always say to me, what's it like watching your son? And it's wonderful, and I'm so proud. But it's not an overnight success. They've worked their bollocks off for 20 years to get that. But the main thing that I'm thinking throughout is, I'm just glad he's okay. Do you know what I mean? As a mom.
Oh, yeah, of course.
I'm just glad that he's in a good place, and and that he's very lucky to be touring the world with all of his best friends.
Yeah, well, it's deserved. I mean,
You know,
worked so hard
they've
for
worked so hard. And then you came back home and I went off to the retreat.
it. Yeah.
So I've just come back from a week at Jason Vale's Juicy Retreat as I do a Juicy Crack podcast. And it was really quite something. The weather was pretty miserable, cracking the flags, of course, when I came back. But it was this beautiful, in the mountains, 2 hours from Lisbon, 2 hours north of Lisbon. And my geography's on a par with my maths, but I think it was 2 hours north of Lisbon. And it was just in the mountains. So I looked out onto this river outside my room. There was Carol Vorderman and her best friend Jules, Alison Hammond, Rob Rinder and his best friend, the Dragon from Dragon's Den, Sarah Willingham, wonderful Alex Scott, MBE, footballer, sports commentator. But none of us knew that each other was going until Jason told us. But we had such a laugh, especially when we did a little sneaky breakout gang and sneaked off to the village for a coffee. No, we didn't break our juicing thing, but we did sneak off and have a coffee, which was very funny. And as I say, some of the conversations I couldn't even tell you, even on Juicy Crack, but it was funny. It was great to see Vorders and Alison because we work in the same building, but as they're leaving this morning, I'm still in the dressing room and then I'm going up for Loose Women. So we sort of pass each other at work a lot, but never really get together. But I've come back. I went because I felt a bit overwhelmed with a lot of stuff. And so it was a real break for my head. And although a lot of people go for weight loss and a lot of people go for fitness, it's not a boot camp. So you can, you have your 3 juices, then your soup a day. So you feel like you're having a cleanse, but you also have a brain cleanse as well. And there was about 40 women there, maybe about 5 men, because you were going to come and then you couldn't, could you? Because you had a big meeting coming up.
Yeah, I couldn't come.
I don't think you were that bothered, were you, when you couldn't come?
No, I wasn't.
But so you start the day and there's like yoga, then there's
It sounded good. I must admit, there were certain bits of it that I thought, I'd have enjoyed that.
You were enjoying more of the gossip though, when I kept telling you about.
I needed the gossip immediately.
The gossip. Yeah. So there was like what was that? Oh yeah, so there'd be like a yoga in the morning with Kenny, then there would be some power greens, then there was the long walk, of which I did a couple, but it's very hilly. And
you got lost.
I did get lost. I hate hills though. Do you know what? Even when I got to what I thought was not this time, but in the past, when I've got to like a much bigger level of fitness than I am now, much bigger, I still fucking hate hills and stairs. I just hate them. They make me cry. So one day I didn't want to go on this walk with the group because it was going to be hilly. I didn't want to. So I decided that I'd take myself off on the river walk and I'd sort of gauge what this hill situation was on my own without being embarrassed in front of other people, like Nana in the background. So as I took off on this river walk, all the people from the walk were coming back. So hello, how are you? And straightforward. So I'm walking, there's a hill, but I'm on my own, so I can take my own time. Looking out, it was actually quite sunny and clear this morning, so it was beautiful. Breathing, doing all my breathing exercises. And I'm walking and I decide I'm going to walk for about, do half an hour there, half an hour back, because Jason had asked us to do a group photo before he left for Spain, about midday.
Yeah.
So I was in plenty of time. And I walk and I walk and I walk. And it was quite hilly. But when I then turned around to come back, I remember thinking, Jesus Christ, these hills are so hard. I don't remember walking down because suddenly I'm faced with the Andes and the Himalayas and bloody Mount Everest on the way back. And I start seeing these houses and these little clusters of things, of buildings that I knew I hadn't seen before. And I started to get that little tiny tremor of, I think I might be a little bit lost here. So I'm looking for the water, which had been on my right. And the more I tried to find it, the more lost I got. And I realised it was about 11:30. And my panic was, rather than I'm going to be lost and never seen again, which did kick in, but not at that point, I got this guilt thing of, I'm going to miss, Jason's asked us for one photo and I'm not going to be there. So I rang Alison and she didn't answer. And I rang Vorders and she didn't answer because they were all doing classes or whatever. So I rang Sarah Willingham and thank God she answered. And she told me how to use, I didn't have that much thing on my phone, stupidly, because I thought I was only going to be out for a short amount of time and that I wouldn't need my phone. I hadn't signed out of the venue.
You crept out. You snuck out.
No, I didn't sneak out, but I thought, well, I don't need to sign out. I'm only going up the road and back. So I didn't sign out. So I had visions of them not being able to find me. And anyway, Sarah had to talk me through how to put locations on my WhatsApp. And basically, I've got two directions which way to go. So I start walk for about 5 minutes. She says to me, you realise you're walking in the wrong direction. I have two directions. I choose the wrong one. At this point,
Well, you wasn't going west.
Upset.
You wasn't going west.
I wasn't going west.
Well, when they say that.
Oh, in America.
Yeah, they were heading...
Oh, and he was heading west and he was heading northeast.
Northwest.
And we think, how do you know?
How on earth does anyone know any of that?
How does anyone know? Anyway, I don't know which way I was heading, but I wasn't heading towards Sarah. So you got the two little round pictures of my face and Sarah's face, and I'm walking away from it. Because my map reading, my geography, my maths, all plays into this nonsense that goes on in my head, and I can't do it. Thank God, Sarah, one of her strengths is finding lost souls in the mountains of Portugal. And
did they actually come out and find you?
No, not they. She did.
She come out?
Yeah, she had to come out and find me. And at one point, I was getting really upset, and I was by this old house with this sort of abandoned car and this dog barking like something from a horror film. And this sort of lady came out and went, yes, yes, yes. And I went, retreat. And she went, here, because she must be sick of sort of like, you can spot a British person on a retreat. Do you know what I mean? And she started pointing down a road and showing me where to go. But I didn't want to go on it in case Sarah was coming the wrong way. So I had to pretend to go on it. Then when she went back in the house, sneak back because I didn't want to go the way.
Well, because you didn't want to upset the lady who came out the house. I didn't want to upset
the lady who came out the house.
Oh, God.
Anyway, eventually Sarah found me and I just was quite tearful, because I was so grateful to her and so grateful to see her.
How far away were you?
Half an hour.
Half an hour?
Yeah, Sarah kept reassuring me and saying, honestly, you're not that far. But if my life depended on it, which it kind of did, I wouldn't have been able to get back. What
about putting it into your map?
I couldn't do it, Lincoln.
No, you put retreat. You go to Jason Vale retreat on your maps. And your maps could have then saying go in this direction.
I know, but I can't do it, can I, without the voice coming on? And the voice wouldn't come on unless it goes turn left, turn right. I can't do it. Sorry. I'm quite bright about lots of things, everybody, but I'm just not with that. Anyway, we got back, and thank God we got back to the tail end of the photo shoot. But of course, Vorders and Alison and everything all looked like they'd been in glam for about an hour. And poor Sarah and I had to go on we'll be on the walls of the retreat, makeup free. Anyway, listen, that was just a daft thing that happened. But generally, it's really, really worth doing. And I met a whole bunch of people. And, rather than weight loss, because obviously I'm a Lighter Life ambassador, so I maintain my weight in other ways. But it was just like a lovely cleanse. And also the main common denominator of all of us that were there, the women, was mental health.
Right.
Everybody was a bit overloaded.
Really?
And overwhelmed. And there was one woman there called Elaine who was great. She was from California. And when we sort of introduced ourselves at the beginning, it sounds really corny, but it wasn't, it wasn't like, hi, I'm Denise. But it just was a way of getting to know people. It was just nice. Anyway, she said that she was exaggerating, but she said she nearly got a divorce coming here. And we all went, oh my God, why? Why did your husband not want you to come here? Well, she was there for a month. Right, juicing for 1 month. Juicing out for 1 month, and she has 9 children.
Yeah, well, I'd be going there for 9 years. I'd go for 9 years.
That's what we said.
Oh yeah, there's no way. 9 kids.
Yeah.
Forget it. I'd never come back.
Yeah. So she basically was burnt out. She had 5 biological kids between 18 and just born, and 4 stepchildren, most of whom all still lived at the house.
You've got to go
But
get out there.
But her husband is a real sort of, well, in her words, macho Mexican. So his thing was more, what are people going to say about my wife leaving me with the children? You know, she did employ a nanny as well. But anyway, once she was there and he realized how it was doing, because she was type 2 diabetic, she had this blood disorder, all of these things just by living an unhealthy lifestyle and not giving any time to herself. And once he realized how much she was benefiting from this, he was, of course, then very supportive. There was one girl there who had such a really, really terrible childhood that it involved abuse within the family, and she opened up and we had a long chat, and you know, and it was quite massive to her that she opened up to me and about it. And
it sounds too much.
no, it wasn't.
I couldn't
no,
have
darling,
I couldn't have been listening to all
No,
that
you
and
wouldn't
trying to
have
just
been.
drink a carrot juice.
No, you
I'm
wouldn't
drinking
have
a
been.
carrot juice. Someone's moaning at me. And I'm thinking,
No.
oh my God, I can't even be here.
No, it wasn't that, darling.
I'm going for a steak.
You wouldn't have been around those conversations, darling. You would have just been in the bedroom
I'd
watching
lock myself in.
Netflix. But I found it really therapeutic. But also, you can just go for the sheer hell of it. So I've never been to a retreat before, but I would definitely go again.
Isn't a retreat part of the word retreat supposed to be retreat from like human beings as well?
No.
I'd like it that the juices arrived outside my door. I just grab them and watch some more crime.
But you can do that. But you can also do that. That's the beauty of it.
I would be walking around with one of my wigs on, darling. They'd have to. I will be absolutely
Would
in
you not be
disguise.
influencing?
No way. I'm not going to influence anything. I would never want anyone to talk to me. I just want to juice out, do a few exercises, and be on my own. Be on my own.
Enough, that's pretty much how I describe you.
Sharing all this. Oh, it worries me, and it's very hard to listen to those things when you're trying to chill and drink.
Darling, nobody wants to talk to you about them. They were talking to me. You can chill out.
Oh dear.
You're making out like you're not a sensitive ear. You wouldn't have been. But anyway, I was, and I enjoyed it because I then offloaded to other people about me.
Yeah, no,
So
I get it.
I enjoyed that aspect of it.
Yeah.
You don't have to do it. You don't have to come. Very, very happy to do it on my own. But, of course, what I have done since I've come back, you said I've turned into the SAS, is that...
What, Saturday and Sunday?
Saturdays and Sundays.
No, SAS is supposed to be Saturday and Sunday. You can eat what you want, do what you want.
So basically, I have come back bringing with me...
Oh, you have?
This, let's go for a nice walk, let's keep our fitness up, haven't I?
Yeah, so you've been back both mornings. We've been out for a walk. We've both been to the gym.
Yeah.
Yeah, brilliant. That's great. I like that.
That's what I mean. That. So there is a benefit in me going on my own, but bringing back some of what I've learned.
You go on your own and then come back with the energy of it, but I don't have to talk to anyone.
Okay, deal. Right.
That's brilliant.
Right, okay. So while I was away, you were getting something very important done for BAFTA. And the funny thing about BAFTA is, which we'll tell you in a minute because of what Lincoln's doing, when we were there, we were able to celebrate with a ginger shot. Alison Hammond was announced as the co-host with Richard E. Grant for the BAFTA Film and Television Awards, which is fucking, what a gig.
That's great. Well, she'll be great.
We all know what Alison's celebrity interviews are like with the A-listers. She's incredible. She doesn't lose any, reverence that she has for what they've achieved, but she just brings out such a wicked side to them.
Yeah.
So normally at the awards, once your Kate Winslets, your Tom Cruises have won their award, you don't see them anymore.
No.
But what they're going to do is Alison and Richard E. Grant are going to start the show, and then Alison will go into what's called BAFTA Hub or whatever, I can't remember what they're calling it. And you will then see the winner with Alison talking. And that will be just fantastic. So that was brilliant. Also, Vorders is a BAFTA judge for this.
Yeah.
And I said, well, the trio of people doing great things for BAFTA is my husband, because, over to you.
Yeah, well, I've 8 years I've been involved with BAFTA and looking at...
this is BAFTA LA, isn't it, as well?
Well, BAFTA London as well, BAFTA LA, but they're all the same now. There's not really it's BAFTA's BAFTA, so right. They're global. So it's all sort of like, in my mind, it's all to do with looking at helping young creatives by raising money for them because BAFTA's a charity.
Well, this is what I mean. I think a lot of...
Let me talk then. You just let me in. Yeah, I'm just starting to talk and you did jump in.
Because I'm telling people that don't know that BAFTA, although it celebrates film and television, is a charity.
That's what I just said.
No, I know, but you have to explain what the charity does.
Yes, but I'll get to that point.
Darling, could your voice be any higher?
Well, I'm not being funny. I've got to start shouting to get my word in. Anyway, BAFTA's a charity. Brilliant. And I've been working with them, raising money by doing portraits for, first of all, it was the Britannia Awards, which was 6 people that are honoured every year, starting back in 2014. And I put together a collection of 6 works, because obviously it's not like an award ceremony where there's, 6 people, 5 people up for it. They know who they're honouring. Yeah. So I have time to create the portraits. Anyway, lots of people know this. But this time round, so on the 8th year, lots of people
don't know this. The Britannia Awards is an annual event which was stopped by COVID, which we hope will resume, which takes place at the Beverly Hilton in Los Angeles. I was lucky to go to maybe 4 of the 6 of them. And the honorees were people like who Lincoln has done a sort of mixed media portrait of. Samuel L. Jackson, Ricky Gervais, Dick Van Dyke. I mean, I nearly died when I met him. Jane Fonda.
Meryl Streep.
I mean,
Steve Coogan.
And so they would have to okay a particular image that Lincoln could then use to create a mixed media portrait, which then sold for the BAFTA outreach project, helping children in America.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So it's a school that I've been to in South Central, and I've been Washington Prep. Yeah, I've been lucky enough to be involved with that from the ground level. So I've sort of seen how the money raised has helped them. So that's been really good. But for the Burns night, it was once again raising money. It's obviously they're celebrating in LA, and they've done it on a bigger scale this time. And it was a great night that I had to miss because I've been too busy with other things. But I created a portrait of Michael Caine, my favourite superstar,
who's now become our friend, him and his wife and family.
Film icons started with Michael, and that piece raised tens of thousands of dollars for them.
Well, you go into Michael and Shakira's flat in Chelsea, and it's like a shrine to Lincoln Townley art.
Yeah,
isn't it?
Yeah, I get on very well with him, but it's. I think it was because that piece as well means so much to me. Within regards, that was sort of the start of the BAFTA journey, was them understanding that I was, creating these portraits of Michael, that I got involved with them in the first place. So I've got a lot to thank Michael for on that. But I love doing portraits of Michael.
He's a big fan of you being a sort of, it does go back to the young lad from Hackney who's an untrained artist who's made an international career in 10 years. I think Michael sees a lot of himself because he was kind of nearly 40, really 38 when his massive career became...
Yeah.
He was older, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he always tells this story that... because obviously Michael Caine, it's Maurice Micklewhite, isn't it, his real name? And he tells this story, which I'm sure Shakira's heard a million times, but he says that back in the day, obviously you didn't have a phone, and he was a young actor in London. So every day at 4 p.m, he used to go into Leicester Square to the same phone box and phone his agent to see if anything had come in. So he said that this one day, he was used to going to the phone and picking up the phone and his agent saying, oh, there's nothing for you, there's nothing for you, there's nothing for you. But he went this day and she went, you've got this film. You've got a job, you've got a film, or whatever it was. And she said, but you have to change your name. We can't have Micklewhite. We can't have, this name. And he said, well, Michael, it's going to be Michael. And she said, yeah, but you need the surname. I need to put this in today. And so he said he looked around and he saw this poster for the Caine mutiny. And he went, Michael Caine, it's Michael Caine. And she went, right. And he said, because if I'd been at the phone box 100 yards up the way, I would have been called Michael 101 Dalmatians. Do you remember he tells that story with relish?
Yeah.
And the thing is, every time he tells it, it's funny.
Yeah, it is.
But Shakira rolls her eyes, doesn't she, with it? But yeah, we've become quite close to them.
They're amazing people. Yeah, so I'm doing the whole collection is going to be Robert De Niro, Michael Caine, Al Pacino, and we do Clint Eastwood as well. So it's going to be real film icons. I mean, it's about, as my work always is, it's about pushing boundaries, what we go through to succeed. It's such an incredibly hard industry to make an impact in. So these pieces are really powerful in colour, really pop arty, very Warhol. They're, they're going to
It's a
be
completely different side of your art than the oil art that you're known for.
But I'm bringing them back because I want to hit. I'm going to do a Hollywood collection.
And the great thing about it is you're also doing an LGBTQ collection.
Yes, I am.
Icons as well.
I'm speaking to the head lesbian of the world,
Linda Riley, head lesbian.
Riley. And going to go through
because we are going to the GLAD Awards, which are an award ceremony, and the GLAD.
It was amazing.
Awards, I mean, we had the most fantastic time and so lucky to be invited. I mean, God, apart from everything else, there was every Real Housewife. I was drooling over the Real Housewives in the queue, and in fact became friends with them in the queue. And now we still keep in touch to this day. Lincoln hasn't got a clue who any of them are. But basically, GLAD is about LGBTQ inclusion within movies and the arts in America. And it's a massive organisation. And luckily, one of our best friends, Linda Riley, head lesbian of the world, is on the committee and is so active within that community. And so she's helping sort of, she's helping give advice to Lincoln on this collection as well, which is really exciting.
What is the best way of going about it?
Yeah.
Well, we're going to be going to
But we
LA.
have a grandchild coming as well in March.
Yeah, I know. We're going to be going to LA in March. But I was just about to say, but I am going to be a granddad.
Oh my God, I still can't believe it when you say that because he's only 50. This is our first grandchild coming in March. So it's Lincoln's biological grandchild, but it's my grandchild as well. And
I'm so excited. I think about it every day.
We are very excited. And I think it's March the 22nd is the due date.
Yeah.
So we'll just have, we'll obviously have to see because that's the most important thing that we're there for Lewis and Lizzie. But we just can't wait. It's something that I've wanted for so long. I think my kids feel it's taken the pressure off them. That Lewis has taken one for the team. But we just, we can't wait. And, so that's something. We've got a very exciting year ahead of us with, with work bits and also you're launching in Dubai.
Yeah, that's in February. Yeah, got the gold collection. I've really enjoyed doing them actually, but they're very time consuming because it's all gold leaf and then the images are over the top.
Yeah.
So they're really cool. I really like those. So it's going to be great. And that gives us another reason to get a holiday in as well. I think this is what it should be. Is like we base,
work hard and play hard.
We base the holiday around anywhere that I'm going to show some art.
Darling, all I think is the best idea is you launch all these different things in different parts of the world.
Launching around the world.
You're just launching around the world, and I just come and join you on the launches, and I come to the actual night, but the rest of the time I just lie by the pool, supporting you by my very presence.
Oh, just by being there.
Yeah.
You could talk to everyone.
No.
I can just go and be on my own, and then we get back together again.
Yeah, when I go away, I've got no desire to. That was the retreat talking. Yeah. When we go on holiday lying by a pool, I don't want to talk to anybody. I'm very happy just lying out, sunbathing, not talking to anybody, but just being a supportive wife. And but I have to say, I do feel a bit more energy because we've both had that sort of. Well, you noticed with having COVID for the first time this time, there is a post-COVID tiredness, isn't there?
Yeah, knackered out.
Yeah. There is
really
that.
knackering.
You've got to really kind of push through it because. So I'm.
Well, I like the idea of us now kicking off this new gym regime and doing the juicing together and that at home because I think it's important to carry on that for at least another couple of days.
It also depends how active I am as to what true crime comes on. Actually, we are very, 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 very late to the party. But we started watching last night Happy Valley, Series 1, Episode 1.
Yeah.
And we are binging it and we are loving it.
Yeah.
So I am trying to not see what's happening in Series 3, which is we're going to have to really catch up. and do some heavy
you
binging.
nearly dropped a mum on me the other day, yesterday.
What do you mean a mum on you?
Well, when I go to the right, well, so when I want to know about a film, okay, I'll go to my mum. When I don't want to know about a film, I won't say anything to my mum or my brother, right?
They tell you the end.
Oh, I mean, absolutely. It's like the time when I showed up at my mum's and I said to my brother, yeah, we're going to go and see The Sixth Sense. And he said, yeah, it's mental. You don't even know he's dead. And I had to sit through the whole film knowing he was dead. And then but you did that. You went on Daily Mail Online.
Considering that I am, what do you mean I went on Daily Mail?
You was on Daily Mail last night when we were watching Series 1 and you said something.
No, I went on Twitter.
Because it does spoil.
No, I went on Twitter.
Twitter.
And saw something. Because I hadn't realised the continuation of Happy Valley.
Yeah, stop there.
That's
stop,
what I
stop
just
there,
said.
Please.
Oh my God.
Oh, please. We don't usually ever watch
Trailers.
drama crime, right?
No, we normally watch real crime. It's
all got to be real crime. It's got real crime, real murder, real stuff going on. That's what we like to. Not unsolved, but like real stuff.
And also the thing with me being an actress and being so old and therefore knowing so many people, sometimes if I have a strong connection to whoever's in it, it's hard for me to take away from the friendship I have with the person. I know I shouldn't really, but I do. But Sarah Lancashire, who I do know a bit, but she's phenomenal in this, isn't she? I think in Happy Valley. But as I say, you all know that because we seem to be the only people in the world who haven't seen it.
Yeah, people are going to be listening to this saying you haven't even seen season 1. What's going on?
Yeah, exactly.
But it takes a lot, doesn't it, for us to look at the drama side of crime?
Well, yeah, because we know it didn't really happen, so we've got to get into that mindset.
Yeah.
But anyway, I mean, I went to sleep last night. I'm desperately trying to not watch my phone or tablet when I go to sleep. Because when I go to bed, I've got the Hey You app, which myself and Nadia and several of my friends, my friend Pammy, we just live by. It's got every American reality show the day after it airs in the US. So it's not like watching, TLC and stuff and seeing, or whatever that channel is, and seeing The Real Housewives of Beverly Hills from 27,000 years ago. This is what's happening now. And so I go to bed and then I see that The Housewives of Miami has got a new episode, or Potomac, or all of this. And then I've got Vanderpump Rules coming back, and I actually get shaking with excitement at it because I've got friends in Vanderpump Rules now because of my Bravo obsession.
Yeah, great bedroom life. Great bedroom life you've got there.
And I've got friends in Below Deck as well.
Brilliant.
So I am building my Bravo friendship with people, but I go to bed and then I can't not go to sleep till I've seen them all. So I'm trying to stop that because my sleep's so bad. So last night, instead, I went to sleep listening to an episode of Dateline, which is our favourite crime series in America. And I went to bed listening to that. So I need to continue that because I don't know who done it yet. Anyway, and I know it's who did it. I'm saying who done it as in a who done it mystery rather than being grammatically wrong. Anyway, listen, I am going up to see my friend Ange, who I haven't seen for ages. I've got to unpack from my retreat. And then, because I'm off to bloody London again tomorrow, I've got work and then I've got a meeting and then blah, 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 blah. But what I am going to miss is I'm going to miss the boys' Newcastle gig. And obviously, I've got a lot of fans who are going to be expecting me there. I'd be very disappointed. I'm going to miss it because I'm working. I can't get up there.
Yeah.
So they'll have to survive without me, the Newcastle crowds.
Yeah.
It won't be the same for them, obviously, but they'll survive, I'm sure.
We need a holiday. We need a holiday.
We need a holiday. You need a holiday from me, do you?
Oh,
already?
Please.
Have you stopped it?
No.
Oh. I thought you did. What did you just press?
I just pushed to see what
I thought you were actually cutting me off in mid-sentence.
No, it's just seeing what the timings were.
Oh, okay.
It's quite contemporary when you cut off, like just cut. When you stop these, just cut.
What, when you just cut?
Yeah.
Like in the middle? So guys, if there's anything that you've ever heard me talking about that you'd like to hear more of, or indeed anything you can suggest that me, DK and Lincoln can bring to the table, contact me on denisewelchpod@gmail.com. And indeed, if you've got any questions, ask away. We'd love to hear from you.